everything is copper deficient. Squirrels, they eat your wiring harnesses out of your tractors. The deer, the cattle, everything's copper deficient in our area. And so we tried to feed a high copper content mineral. In the springtime, my black cows would have a red tint to them. And so I talked to a nutritionist. I said, my cows are turning red. What's going on? He said, you're copper deficient. I said, I don't know how that's possible. And he said, well, you need to be feeding chelated copper. To get them to digest that non-chelated, they have to eat a lot of forage in order for their bodies to absorb it. I didn't know that. All this money I've spent on other mineral, I thought I was doing our cattle a favor, and all I was doing was getting them tender in the rocks because they were chasing harder, trying to get what they needed to absorb this. I'm not a computer guy, but I'd be scrolling through it and I'd see these Riomax ads and I'd see it, and when he told me the price, I just about swallowed my own tongue. I thought, holy cow, we can't do this. We fought tooth and toenail. I said, we just can't afford this, guys, and they proved it to me over and over that you can't afford it because in the long run it's cheaper. Mineral deficient cattle are hungry for minerals, so they're going to consume a little bit. But once them cattle got on the tubs, they balanced out. When the grass turned green, they backed off even more. The cattle just were content. They weren't breaking out. We would feed and they would just stay there, and my neighbors would see me out there digging through cow manure and they'd come to the fence and say, what are you doing? And I'd say, look at this. Now let's go look at your cattle's manure. And that test that they show where that manure is absorbed, every stem and every seed, is true. We'd go across the fence, the cows that wasn't eating it, and there was little stems and little evidence of roughage that wasn't digested. And then when we'd go to the cattle that I had on it, their manure looked like pancake batter. It was clean. It's not just going back out on the ground. That's real money right now in this drought. Hay's expensive. That's going to help our checkbooks. They tell you to give them a shot for this, give them a shot for this. The first thing they teach you is if your cattle aren't on a good mineral program, there's no sense in buying vaccine because they can't absorb it. So why are we giving these shots to cattle that aren't ready for shots? Your mineral program is your foundation of your immunity system on your cow. Our cattle that winter out on the desert, we try to bring them home in the spring and get them ready for a bull, and putting that many cows together, it's kind of dangerous because you put them calves together, and we've had some serious scour issues. The last couple of years I haven't had them scour outbreaks. I never said I didn't have a scouring calf, but my disease in my calves has went down tremendously. And I attribute it to Riomax. That's the only thing I changed. Well, a calf's worth a pretty good price right now, so you lose 5 head of calves to scours, that's going to add up. They work hard, and I am seeing them cattle we brought off the desert last winter were thin. They were thin, and we put them right on the Riomax. We brought them in and started feeding them, and before we turned the bulls out May 20th, their tail heads was already rubbed raw. Them poor cows with baby calves on their side was already cycling and ready for the bull when it was time to turn him out. It's been kind of fun because when you go out with a truckload of hay and you're feeding the hay, all the calves go to the Riomax barrels. And so when you see 50, 100, 150 calves around your Riomax barrels, it's a pretty nice sight. You have to run your pencil. You just can't focus on the cost of the product. You got to focus on your feed conversion. You got to focus on the less amount of feed you're feeding. You got to focus on the health of your cattle. You got to focus on your conception rate. When you add all that together, that makes this tub cheaper than any other tub we ever fed.